May is Bike Month, and today is Bike to Work Day. But if you do take advantage of great biking weather this morning, be careful. California is one of the 10 most dangerous states for cyclists. A recent report showed that there were 176 deadly crashes involving a bicyclist in California in 2022. That was 4.28% of all fatal crashes in the state that year, the sixth highest percentage in the nation. We're joined now in studio this morning by Deb Banks with the Sacramento Area Bicycle Advocates. And Deb, when you hear those numbers, what are you thinking? How are you feeling? Well,
the numbers sound horrible, but one of the most important things to remember is that we have more people on their bicycles. When everybody stopped driving because of the pandemic, a lot of people took to riding their bicycles. We think that's fabulous. I mean, I'm in the bicycle advocacy business, so I think that's a really good thing. The problem is when everybody started driving again, then there was some really bad behavior that's been going on with drivers and cyclists too that hasn't calmed down. And so California is also a really big place, so we have a lot of people, and a lot of people need to get around. So there's bound to have some clashes.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit more. What are some things that you feel like cyclists need to do and be more aware of?
Well, cyclists always need to be more aware of their surroundings, to make eye contact with vehicles at intersections, which are the places where most of the crashes occur. Vehicles also need to do the same thing. Put down your phone, distracted driving, and speeding is a huge issue for everybody, I think, in California, maybe across the nation as well. So if we all slowed down, we would still get to where we wanted to go. We would just get there a lot safer.
Are there some initiatives or some laws that you're seeing now that are coming up that are really helpful for cyclists?
Well, you know, most everybody who's a cyclist has a car driver's license. So we know the rules of the road. There are cyclists who will run stop signs, et cetera, and sometimes that's because they're being a scofflaw, but a lot of the times it's because that intersection isn't safe. So you move through the intersection to become safe. But from a law perspective, one of the things that we don't have a lot of influence over, because it's both every state passes a different law about it, but you can create an ordinance, is about no right turn on red. Now, when I grew up driving, right turn on red was like, awesome, stop, look, turn, if things are free and clear. But these days, that might mean that you are cutting off a cyclist, especially in protected bike lanes, as you're coming on the bike lane to the intersection, and a car is going to come and make a right-hand turn. It's called a right hook, where they just, they're making their turn, you're going straight. That a right turn on red law would be, no right turn on red law would be fantastic.
Okay, something we'll have to watch for sure. Thank you for joining us. Very important conversation to have for sure.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Mike, back over.